This is gonna be a little bit of a different video today because yesterday I read something in an article, two articles actually, I'm gonna show you both, that I'm very passionate about and I just have to make a video on this. So it's gonna be divided, this video is gonna be divided into I think three categories. We're gonna talk about the EVs and the future of EVs within supercar manufacturers, specifically in this case Ferrari. Then I wanna show you what the big benefit is with EVs today when it comes to design. And last but not least, we're gonna dive into Ferrari's design because I think I'm really happy to see that they're starting to come back to that elegant, beautiful, classy Ferrari design language that was lost for a while there a couple of years back, but now they're starting to come back to that original Ferrari classic design. So first of all, let's have a look at these two articles here. One is from Road and Track, the other one is from Motor One. I'm, of course, going to link both of these down in the description. So here's the Road and Track article that I want to show you. So Ferrari CEO says, "We don't care about autonomous driving." I love the statement itself. There is no question about where they stand when it comes to autonomous driving. You know, I like when people are direct and don't talk in code and politics just to try to make it sound nice. Ferrari CEO knows exactly what he wants to do with the company, and I absolutely love that. So CEO Benedetto Vigna says that the company hasn't put much thought into autonomous driving technology. And I mean, can you imagine a Ferrari being autonomous? It would completely ruin everything that is a Ferrari. So I totally understand where he's coming from here. In the cabin, he says, there are four kinds of software. There is the performance software, there's the comfort software, the infotainment software, and there is autonomous. The last one, we don't care. No customer is going to spend money for a computer in the car to enjoy the drive. And specifically not, of course, in a Ferrari. The value of the man, of the human at the center is fundamental. And here's something that I don't like about it, how they wrote this article. Because they said, in fact, Ferrari bosses have had this attitude. Why do they put attitude? Attitude kind of insinuates that they are doing something that they shouldn't and need to adjust their attitude. I would switch this word out here in this article for, in fact, Ferrari bosses have had this passion for years now. Two executives said back in 2016 the company had no plans for autonomous vehicles for the foreseeable future, but in that same breath, they also said Ferrari had no plans of building a four-door SUV, and we all know how that turned out. To me, you can't compare building autonomous EVs to building an SUV. They had to build the SUV because Lamborghini sales, over 50% of their sales are coming from the Urus. So if they want to have a profitable business and still be able to produce and manufacture supercars that we all love, they need to have an SUV in the lineup. And I don't think there is anything wrong with that. It's not an autonomous EV SUV. And then we go to the second article here, which is also very interesting from Motor One regarding the EV future of Ferrari. So the past several years have been a push to limit sales of new combustion engines cars by 2035. This shift initially left brands like Ferrari in a conundrum because the essence of its cars revolves partly around the visceral thrill of a powerful V8 or V12 engine. However, as more legislation is crafted, it increasingly opens the possibility of combustion engine cars living past 2035 if they run on environmentally friendly fuels. And here's the thing. The past 5 years or so, companies have been have blindfolds on and only focus on electric vehicles. Why aren't we looking or exploring or kind of researching what other options are around? And I think having these e-fuels or these environmentally friendly fuels, the transition from internal combustion engine running on regular gas into e-fuels, it would be such an easier transition instead of creating a brand new electric grid for an entire world. So I think this is a really cool idea, and it's always been a cool idea. I just don't understand why companies seems to be like laser focused on one single solution, which seems to me not even be the best solution moving forward. So we have Benedetto Vigna here again. The automaker is also on target to meet its carbon neutrality goal by 2030, so that's great. However, Vigna quickly added that with the development of e-fuels moving faster than anticipated, it means ICE still has a lot to do. And this is what I've been saying. I mean, you can make all the commuter cars these small Hondas, the small Fiats and what have you, even bigger, larger sedans or SUVs, trucks, not really. I don't see how trucks are going to be usable as trucks with power source of electricity yet. But for your regular commuter cars, make all of them EVs, I don't care. But for Ferraris and brands like this that have built their entire history based on engine technology, Porsche as well, they need to have a way to keep the internal combustion engines. And this seems to be a great alternative with these e-fuels. You can now run a car with e-fuel that is neutral. Ferrari, however, they've not yet provided any details about this. Vinia would only say that the automaker would continue launching hybrids, electric and combustion engine vehicles, which is great. That's what we have in the new 296 GTB, for example. We're going to have a look at that design in just a second and why I think that's a great design. The EU latest proposals require that new combustion engine vehicle manufacturers after 2035 run exclusively on e-fuel. This requirement means that existing engines must be revised to meet these new rules. But from what I understand, it's from these Porsche e-fuels and the thing that they are developing in, I think, in Chile and Argentina, in their facilities down there. That type of e-fuel can be put in any internal combustion that exists today. So there's no need for that fuel, for the engines to be modified to allow that fuel. So I guess there are different types of e-fuels here, but I think this is definitely the way to go, and I totally understand the CEO of Ferrari wanting to keep, of course, the V8s and the V12s alive, and I think we all want that for Ferrari. So with that said, there are some very cool things, as I said, that you can do with EVs that you can't do with internal combustion engines, and that's what I want to show you right now when it comes to the design. Up top, we have an Alpine concept that was launched, I think, yesterday, and it's based on the Renault 5. And I think this is an absolutely fantastic design from Alpine. I think it's such a cool modernization of the original Renault 5 that I really hope they put this into production. Because look at these proportions, look at the graphics and everything here. It has the soul of the original Renault 5 in such a cool way. And then we have these wide fenders, squared fenders on the sides, and these are the type of designs that you can actually make now and put into production with the help of electric battery platform, because on top of that platform you can build whatever you want, any shapes you like. You don't need to make space around an engine and a gearbox and all the other parts that goes into an internal combustion engine. That's the big benefit with EVs that I love, and I welcome that, especially for designers. I think designers are going to have a lot more fun building car designs on EVs. One thing that is extremely annoying with this concept are these wheel designs, but they're annoying in a way that they become almost like art. Art is supposed to invoke a feeling, and these wheels definitely invokes a feeling in me, and it makes me want to go in and change this square that we have inside of the wheel. I want to have this not be a square because it feels like exactly as, you know, those toys when you have a square go in a round hole, you can't fit it there. It doesn't fit in these wheels. And I love these wheels for the reason that I'm annoyed by them when I see them. And then we have this Charger Daytona concept. Look at this gorgeous design, bringing back original muscle car design. A little bit weird with the noises that this thing makes, but the design overall, it feels like a very cool EV. For those who want to have mix the old muscle car designs with new technology, there's probably a market for that as well, and I think this will do very well when it goes on sale later. And then we have the Lotus Evija. Just look at how this is sculpted. This is sculptures that we could not make in an internal combustion engine because it has an entire cave going in here behind the wheel, shooting in the back. So the airflow flows in here. And if you were to have an internal combustion engine, you could not make this design simply because there is no space to carve out this massive hole in the side of the car to allow for this to be designed like this with an internal combustion engine. Again, benefits of the EVs is, of course, that you can make stuff like this. And last but not least, I just want to show you this example, the Hyundai Envision 74, which is probably my favorite concept car of last year. I think I can clearly say that it is my favorite concept car of last year. And the good news is, Hyundai released some statements a couple of days ago that they're actually planning, trying to figure out how to put this into production. So I think we made a good job. We made enough noise to Hyundai for realizing that they need to put this beast into production just the way it looks. I hope they don't change anything and engineer it and turn it into a more boring looking car. Keep it exactly like this. Don't change a single thing on this car. Figure out how to put it in production the way it is. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Ferrari designs as well quickly here and show you what's going on with Ferrari design. I think they lost it a couple of years back with the peak of confusion to me was the F8 Tributo, which I think just looked completely out of touch with what Ferrari used to be, and that was built on it was based on the beautiful 458, one of the best looking Ferraris of the past 50 years in my opinion. So I want to show you this lineup. Look at the Ferrari 458 here, beautiful surfacing, no side intake right here to cool the engine that we have usually on mid-engine supercars like this. Gorgeous lines, gorgeous proportions, and this very, very thin A-pillar up here. Beautiful touch. The wheels, I love them as well. This is the classy design that I'm used to see, that I relate to Ferrari in comparison to Lamborghini, for example, which has a bunch of different angles, almost origami style designs in their cars. And then it got a little bit more complex with the 488 right here with this intake in the side. So they ruined this beautiful surface, this rear fender, which is absolutely gorgeous. They just carved out a hole in it right here that doesn't feel like it belongs in the side of this car. It feels like to me that the sculpture has been damaged when they put this intake in the side. Other than that, it looks very much like the 458 in every other thing, every other part. What I would like to do is take the taillights and the headlights, which are now full LED in the 488 with a circular LED in the rear, and apply it onto the 458, and that would be my dream mid-engine Ferrari. The looks would be absolutely perfect if they updated the graphics of the 458 with the graphics that we have on the 488. And then we come down to the F8 Tributo. You can't really see the mess that happened in this design from a side view, but you can see it when you look in a front view and a rear view. They just started to chop this design up in all kinds of pieces. We still have the intake from the 48, but in the rear and in the front, this is where things got really, really messy. And they just added more and more and more lines and surfaces to the beautiful sculpture that is the 458. And I was thinking at this point, where is Ferrari going with this design? Now, looking at today's cars from Ferrari, they're definitely dialing this design language back and coming back to their fundamentals and their true design philosophy when it comes to their surfacing and sculptures. You can see that with this gorgeous 296 GTB. Just have a look at this hip shoulder over the rear axle. We do have an intake here, but it feels a lot better integrated than it did on the F8 and the 488. Just a stunning looking design. One thing I would change here is the greenhouse. This treatment looks too Lotus to me, this section here. I would like to have the roofline go down like we have in the previous models of a mid-engine Ferrari and not have this upswing in the rear. But that's just a small detail. Look at the Ferrari Roma. The new Puro even looks very classy. It still has this presence to it, but it still looks like an elegant Ferrari in my opinion. So I'm happy to see that they're dialing this over-styling back that we have in the F8 and coming back to their true nature when it comes to design philosophy. So the thing here, I want to hear what you think about this statements from the CEO of Ferrari. If you agree with what he's saying, or do you want Ferrari to go EV and not have any sort of engine noises in the car when you're driving it, or do you even want a Ferrari to be an autonomous car? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.